Blog Talk Radio.
You're tuned into the Alien Agenda, and I'm your host, Carrie, broadcasting live from Youngstown, Ohio. Tonight we have a few guests on that were eyewitnesses to the unknown UFO incident over New York City on the 13th. There were various reports about what the objects were, could have possibly been that stopped New Yorkers in their tracks to stand on street corners and stare at the sky for a few hours. So one of the most compelling pieces of footage from that incident thankfully came from, on YouTube, the username is MayanStar88, and his name is Humo. And he's on the show tonight. He's waiting patiently on the line. I appreciate that. And, I do have my own opinions regarding this incident. I've been doing nothing but watching YouTube videos of, various New Yorkers' footage from the incident, as well as what Fox News has been reporting and the other local news agencies there about what could have possibly been going on, on the 13th and even into the night of the 13th. So we'll just go ahead and start off with having Humo on the air and finding out what exactly, his account of the event on the 13th was. Hi, Humo. Thank you for calling in. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm so glad that you called into the show. Now, just take your time and just let all of our listeners know what exactly, from start to finish, how was it that you had a camcorder with you, and how was it that, you filmed these things in the sky, and, what went on, what transpired for you that day?
Well, I had a very interesting day, a very interesting morning. I was supposed to be in the city at 9 o'clock in the morning, and everything turned out to be kind of crazy for me on that morning. And I got to the city around 1 p.m., and when I was driving, I had to stop to pick up somebody, and then when I got out of the car, I looked at the sky, and there were this huge yellow thing that was very interesting, and I was very excited to see it. And then I got my camera in my car, so I went to grab it right away. I was very excited, so I came out and I started filming it. And I also saw many spheres around the yellow object that was hovering like stationary above the buildings, even though it was like kind of high, but I saw all these spheres flying around it. And I focused on filming the big one because I didn't want to focus on the smaller ones. I knew I probably wasn't going to be able to get them with my camera. So, yeah, I filmed them for about 7 to 10 minutes or something like that. And during the period of about 1 hour or something while I was driving throughout the city, because I had to keep moving my car. I couldn't just stand on one place. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, Brett. That's what happened. And
okay, so you were driving in your car.
Yes.
Right. You're driving in your car. Could you let us know, what streets you were going down, approximately what time of the day it was, and, as you're filming, what streets were you going down?
Okay. When I got out of the car, it was 1 p.m., around 1 p.m., 1:30, between that time. And it was around 27th Street and 2nd, between 2nd and 3rd Avenue. And that's when I started filming them. And since I had to move my car, I couldn't just stand in one place because of the area. It was very busy and stuff. Even though when I was driving, I kept filming them. As you could see, my car is moving. And I had to go on to the FDR, and that's when I lost them. But that from the first time that I saw them until I had to go to the FDR, it took me like an hour, because I was doing some pickups. At the same time, I was working, and I couldn't stop doing that because I had somebody else in the car. And, when I got onto the FDR, I realized that I was going through the United Nations, and that was very interesting because they were very close to that area. And I just realized that people saw them on the west side around 23rd Street and 8th Avenue, only until the night when I started seeing like videos in the news, and I didn't know other people had seen them, because in the area where I was and where I was filming them, nobody was looking up to the sky. It was just me, like, with my camera. And well, I was very excited that many other people saw them too. Yes, that's how it happened.
Okay, I'm just going over some of the information. Now, when you were traveling, at that time when you were filming, did you notice anybody standing on the street corners? Had you heard about any kind of sightings at that time? Or, you know, was it made known at that time that other people were seeing and stopped on the corners watching the skies?
No, I actually looked down when I was filming them, and I wanted to see if some other people were looking at the sky. And it was kind of funny to me that everyone was just doing their regular everyday thing. Nobody was paying attention to the sky, and I was like actually like really like pointing my camera to the sky. So I was hoping that somebody like would be interested into what I was doing, and they would also look at the sky. But now everyone was so much into their own reality that nobody was really paying attention. So yeah, that was interesting. That was only me in that area, like actually looking at the sky and getting them on tape.
When did you find out that other people were actually looking up at the sky and seeing things? Did you hear something on the news, and then when did you decide to put your video up on YouTube?
I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone when that was happening, and it was very interesting because we were very connected actually to a lot of these beings and stuff. Like, we feel that we have a connection. Every time we're together, we see them, and then we kind of manifest them for them to show up and stuff like that. So I called her, and then she went to the window and she told me that she was seeing them too. So I don't know, after I had to go to New Jersey because I was doing some job on that day, and then maybe like 3 hours later, she told me that it was all over the news. So when I came back into the city, and then I went to my house, I started seeing like videos on YouTube and in the news, and I saw that other people had seen them too. So it was like, I don't know, probably around 5 or 6 p.m. when I had realized that other people had seen them too.
And I understand that your girlfriend, the friend of yours, is going to be calling into the show as well to join us here. And I know you do have some history with feeling that you have a connection with otherworldly beings. And for this experience for you was a very spiritual one. And, as we talked on the phone earlier, when you were viewing the objects, when you were filming them, what did it appear to you that they looked like? Because I know in the video it looks like that they're like emitting like a gold or like a yellow. Could you tell if that was the sun reflecting or if that was coming from the object itself?
Yeah, I never thought that there were anything else than other beings from other places, other planets, other dimensions. I never thought about them being balloons, only until I started seeing videos online, and then I started seeing that people were saying that they were probably balloons or anything like that, like released from Times Square or something like that. And that was kind of funny because when I saw them, I totally felt that it was other beings, and that there was a connection there from me to them, and I had seen also these spheres around them, which some of them were acting in a very intelligent manner because they were moving towards like the big ship or whatever that was, and then I saw the spheres moving towards them. So I never thought that they were any kind of balloons or anything like that. I knew that they were like spheres of light, and they were not totally physical, but I knew that they were like pure energy ships or something like that, and that's what I felt. I only realized that people were like talking about them as being balloons until I started watching the news.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to get more involved in your story and some of the other experiences. In fact, an experience you had 2 weeks prior to this incident. We're definitely going to talk about that here very shortly. What I'd like to do first, while you stay on the line here with me, is I'd just like to read a few reports that were put out online by Fox News regarding the incident. Now, 2 of the theories that came out regarding what people were seeing in the skies over New York, and mind you, this is New York City. I mean, it's like, that's, you know, the highest population, you know, in America, and it's like you got Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade coming up. There's, you know, you got, you know, New Year's Eve. People know what balloons look like when they're in the sky.
Right.
For this sort of an incident to happen where New Yorkers are stopped in their tracks on street corners staring at the sky for at least over an hour at objects in the sky is very strange in itself, because how often do you actually see that happen in New York where, you know, excuse my stereotype, but New York has the label that, you know, you could be lying there dead on the street and people wouldn't stop to look at you, you know, and I'm sure that's not really how it is, but that's just the, you know, the point I'm trying to make here is for people to stop doing their daily activities in the busiest city in America to stare at the sky at balloons is just ridiculous, because people know what balloons look like in the sky. In fact, when a balloon reaches to a certain altitude, you cannot even see it anymore, you know, with your eyes, let alone with a camcorder or a camera. So that right there, I mean, in itself speaks volumes about this event. But one of the articles that came out was that, you know, I know Fox News or one of the local stations, they were sort of hinting to, oh, well, there was like, you know, a vendor attraction in Manhattan, and they were giving away balloons, and, you know, and yet they had no information on what company it was. They had no witnesses that could say, look, here's the balloon from the event. You know, it was just they were dropping these, you know, speculating opinions about, you know, where these alleged balloons could have come from. Now, the only story that held any kind of water briefly was the engagement party story that came from the elementary school. And I have viewed that video, and to our listeners who may not have seen it, you can go on YouTube, and it is NYC Kids Say UFO Was Their Balloons. That's the title of the YouTube video, and it's the principal of the school, and she's sitting there and she's talking about this wonderful engagement party they had for their teacher because she got engaged, blah blah blah, and then it goes on to talk about one of the kids' moms brought in 4 dozen balloons to celebrate. Well, I mean, I don't know anybody that brings 4 dozen balloons to a party. That's, you know, quite a bit of balloons, and she's bringing that in herself, which I'm not doubting that she brought that many balloons. But what was important about that story was the fact that the principal stated only 12 of the balloons. She specifically says only about a dozen balloons got away. Now, after reviewing the footage that I've seen on YouTube, I believe that one of the videos on YouTube does show her balloons being released and blown by the wind from the west side towards whichever area that this person is filming. Now, if you also go on YouTube and you do a search for, it's UFO'S over New York City, better footage. That's the title of the video. And you can hear 3 or 4 guys in the video, and the one that's filming is filming from, it looks like maybe like a high-rise apartment. He's filming through his window. And you can see at least between 8 to 12 separate objects that really do appear to be balloons. And he's saying, oh, yeah, they're balloons. They're coming from the west side. I believe those are her balloons. I believe that what's seen in that footage are balloons because of the fact that they are all separate. They're not in a cluster like some people are trying to drop and say, oh, there was clusters and clusters of them, like it was a circus, and it wasn't. 12 balloons got away, and you can count them in the video. They're there. There's between 8 to 12.